Someone asked, doesn't God the Father requiring Jesus to die sound cruel? Why couldn't there be a different way to save the world that didn't require Jesus to suffer?
I love that question, and this is what I was waiting to try to tackle. It's not that God the Father required Jesus to die. It's that's the result of sin. The wages of sin is death. This is sort of what happens. It's the inevitable trajectory. Relational death, physical death, spiritual death. And so what the Father is saying is we want to go to the lowest place, the worst implication of sin, break it there so that you can be free from all of it. And that's the key. So again, even framing it as the Father required Jesus to die is not how it goes. Let's put it another way. God is the author of life. When you insist on being disconnected from the source of life, what do you get? Death. When you unplug a lamp from the wall, what do you get? A light that is disconnected. Now imagine that our connection to the author of life is not just disconnected, but mangled and severed. And Jesus, by coming as a human and by retelling the Israel story, he restores the connection so that in him, you get life again. Does that make sense? I think we've done so much harm in framing the cross solely in language of judgment and punishment. And so we only see this as God has rules, God got mad, God had to kill someone, Jesus stepped in. That's not how the Bible tells the story. And I'm hoping for another question here that I'll unpack it more. Yeah.
Can't really read your mind, but we'll see.
We'll
see. I mean, if it shows up on the iPad, I'll ask. You can submit it yourself. All right, as we close, I still don't know your question, but I would love to hear your question and your response.
Okay, so here's the question. I scanned it into the QR code. No, I mean, don't you guys want to know, like, if you were to go to court and you're guilty and someone's innocent, an innocent person goes, hey, punish me instead, and you go, that's not justice. It may be merciful, but it's not justice. And I think that's one of the caricatures that's out there. If you see TikTok deconstructors or whatever, that's one of the common ones. You know, it's like, well, how could God punish an innocent person for me? Like, that doesn't make any sense. The key in understanding this is that Jesus came as an Israelite. And this story, do you know those Russian nesting dolls? You know, where there's like a big doll and then a smaller doll. Like, the whole story of the Bible is like a series of Russian nesting dolls. Stay with me. This will make sense. There's humanity. The human race falls. And then God says, I'm going to choose one nation, Israel. And I'm going to use them to rescue the nation. Then that nation's pretty messed up. And he goes, okay, how about just the king of that nation? And he will be good. And then the best king also has the most spectacular failure. His name was David. You go, okay, that doesn't work. And so we've zeroed it down, and then Jesus goes, I'm going to come as the son of David, as the seed of Abraham, the Israelite story, and as the son of man, all humanity. And because I've come as that, I get to represent all of that. So he's not a random individual, and this is why it matters. You know, sometimes as evangelicals, we're like, Jesus was incarnate, and we go, I don't know, he could have come to India, he could have come to Egypt, he could have come to China. No, he had to come as a Jew. He had to come as an Israelite, because that's how he goes to the smallest Russian nesting doll and represents the entire thing. And he starts by being the Israelite who is faithful to the covenant. If you've ever read Matthew's gospel, Jesus reenacts the Israel story in the first few chapters of Matthew's gospel. He goes down to Egypt. He goes into the wilderness, 40 days, not 40 years. He gives a new teaching, Sermon on the Mount, instead of 10 Commandments. He's reenacting the Israel story. Why? He's saying, I am the true Israel, but where Israel failed, I'll be faithful. And then he goes, I'm not just representing Israel, I'm representing all of the human race. And where humanity was sinful, I will be righteous. And then he does it so that he makes the thing implode from the inside. He breaks the thing at the core of it. So he does it precisely because he is representing us, and precisely because he is God and man. And that's the mystery of the gospel. He had to be both.
Man, it's so beautiful just to see, and you said it so eloquently and beautifully, but the intricacies of Scripture and the ways that Jesus is the fulfillment of the thing that we have been longing for, needing all throughout creation.